So I'm still just over here nerding out over the fact that there's an X-Men series on Disney Plus. I told you I would watch both X-Men episodes, just not on the same day. I'm not a binge watcher, so this to me is already quicker than I would normally watch things. This is X-Men 97, Season 1, Episode 2. We're going to talk about it because I love X-Men. And I hope this series gets picked up for 100 seasons. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm just going to put that out there in the world. Click subscribe. Let me know who your favorite X-Men are in the comments. I want to hear some weird names. Please comment. Let's get into this. Who do you want to see pop up? Because Morph changes into some very promising suggestions. When he changed into Psylocke, I was like, oh my god, please put Psylocke in the series. I was like, please bring Psylocke. Yeah, so we're back and Magneto is here. And he's like, what's up? These are my X-Men now. And they're like, I don't know. We don't really want you to be our leader. We don't trust you. And he's like, well, and then we flash back to the scene where he rescued some people at a Ferris wheel. And the world is sort of like surprised that he's doing good deeds and it's making like international news. But then like the UN still like flies in and they swoop in and they're like, you've been arrested for crimes against humanity. And he has to go on trial at the UN, which he submits to because it's the only way that he thinks he can earn anybody's trust is to actually do that. But then when he goes there, things don't really work out his way. X-Cutioner shows up and has a gun that is going to ruin lives. Meanwhile, for the rest of the X-Men, there's some weird past here with Rogue and Magneto that we hint at. Like, I remember watching the animated. Now I need to go through all the episodes. What happened between Rogue and Magneto that I'm not remembering? I remember there was like a period of time because Mystique like tricked her with the whole like I'm your mom thing. There was that whole storyline, but I didn't think that. I don't remember her hooking up with Magneto, but they're strongly suggesting it. Gambit doesn't do much in this episode. I'll be honest. This is not a Gambit heavy episode. He has a line, but this is not. We didn't advance the Gambit storyline. Bishop is barely in this. My God. I mean, they're like, guys, we put Bishop in the X-Men. And like, he's kind of in the first episode. He shoots some people in the second episode. He's mentioned like once. Are we going to do something with Bishop? Like, I love the X-Men and I'm going to love this series no matter what. But why did you add him? Like, he has no purpose. There's got to be a reason for him later on down the line. I don't know. It's very weird. He seems to serve no purpose right now, except like they're like, yeah, we got to bring on this other guy. Morph doesn't do much in the second episode. He did way more in the first, but he does come in and he changes into a couple really cool characters. So, like I said, Psylocke, Lady Deathstrike, you know, he kicks some butt there for a couple of seconds. As I love that when he morphs, he picks up their weapons. Like, I love that. I love that that's part of his powers. Like, he morphs into Psylocke so he can have Psylocke's size. They're not her. That's not her ability. You know, that's. I mean, sort of, but not really. I mean, he doesn't mimic her abilities anyway, so he would just be Psylocke. So, I don't know. It's very weird. Anyway, moving on. It's sort of like with Mystique, with the claws, right? There's the scene in one of the movies where she tries to be Wolverine with the claws, but the claws are not adamantium. She just looks like she has adamantium claws. Yeah, so I don't know. That I didn't really get. Jubilee doesn't do anything. Was she in this episode? This is a very heavily focused on, I would say, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Storm. So like the core four. Cyclops and Storm both went to UN to make sure that everything goes well, and Wolverine stayed back with Jean because Jean's so pregnant. And I guess somebody had to stay back, so it was Wolverine. You know, I guess that just goes to show you how much Scott and Jean have grown. That Cyclops would feel comfortable being like leaving Logan with Jean. But you know, when push comes to shove, he does get her to the hospital when she needs to. She does have her baby in this episode, and it is named Nathan. So they're doing Cable, which is interesting. Um, now I got to go back to my friend who was like, they're gonna do the Phoenix Saga. She's having her baby so they can do well, Cable is not the Phoenix. So either they're about to bastardize the hell out of X-Men or something else is going on. Um, but which we see at the end when a double of Jean stumbles in and Jean looks at Jean and she's like, what is this? But that's not before Magneto really shows the UN his true potential. He's sitting here going, I'm basically letting you do this. But yeah, Storm. That's the big hit of the second episode. And you should see it. There's foreshadowing. She was a nice conversation. She's like, I've often wondered what it would be like to be human. And then I think to myself, but then I wouldn't have met you, my family. And it's like, it was a great speech. And then she gets her powers taken away. And I was shocked. I was like, they nerf Storm? What? That's an odd twist. They're going to give her back. Storm is not the character who's going to get her powers taken away of everyone in this group. So I fully believe they'll figure out a way to bring her back. But I thought what was really interesting in the audio description, which another shout out to Deluxe and Jedidiah Barton on the audio description, is that after she gets hit with her power, she's no longer Storm. She's Aurora. Yeah, they changed her name back down to her birth name, Aurora, her human name, and she no longer is Storm. Reference to a storm. So it's up to Beast to try to figure out if he can do anything for her, but she's not going to stick around and be the sad sack just hanging out, which is really sad because she could offer so much. I actually think the story would be more compelling if she did hang around, because then we would see how a human would fit into this world. We see how humans like interact with mutants, but I don't think that it's not like they would have felt uncomfortable having her around. They would be like, I don't know, there's a human here. They'd be like, oh, it's her. She's just temporarily depowered until we figure it out. You know, I don't think it's like that. But I mean, they've worked with humans before, like Moira McTaggart. So why wouldn't they have one here? I always just thought it'd be really interesting to see like a human at the X Mansion. Like a kid that was like a runaway, doesn't have powers, and maybe Charles is like, oh, you can stay here, you know, with the mutants, and he's friendly to mutants, and the mutants just take on this kid that doesn't have any powers. Like they're cool with that, you know what I'm saying? Like instead of just this total segregation of mutants and humans, but they move that forward by having Storm leave, which I think was the wrong choice, but that's just me. Anyway, I'm really happy about the series existing, and I think the stories that they're telling are interesting. And I'm really excited that there's some original voice cast here. And I want Disney to announce immediately that X-Men 97 is rolling out many more seasons. I don't think the showrunner who got fired because of his OnlyFans account mattered that much. I'm sure they can find other people who love X-Men. It was kind of a big influence on a lot of people back in the 90s, so I think they'll be fine. But anyway, this is a good second episode. You do get little glimpses. I forgot to mention Callisto and Leach get saved in the sewers, and Magneto mentions that he's moving the Morlocks to Genosha, and Genosha ends up getting a UN representation, which is great. So yeah, look at that. We're moving the story along, and then we'll find out what happened to Jean. So hopefully you click subscribe, because I'm going to continue to talk about it. And I love X-Men. I love X-Men 97. I'm really happy this is here. It's probably going to be my favorite show of the year. But I rank my shows at the end. But even though I definitely think there was some more interesting choices they could have made, like keeping Storm around. Um, I'll see where they're going with it. I'll see what they're gonna do. Yeah, I'm trusting in their vision right now. But if they didn't have great audio description, I don't know. But Jedidiah Barton and Deluxe killed the game. Anyway, I'm gonna give X-Men '97 an A once again. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Remember to let me know who your favorite X-Men characters are. I'm really interested. I want to see some weird names down there. I want to see, I don't know, Chamber, something. give me something. But Husk, yeah. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you guys on the other side.